Today we'll talk about one professional gamer who stood out among others. He didn't win every single tournament, nor did he play this game for a long time. He wasn't a popular streamer or YouTuber, but his matches were mesmerizing and every fan of WarCraft 3 wanted to watch them as much as he could. Why? Because this player had very little time left. He was terminally ill, and every match, every second was important for him and his fans. This is the story of Space, a Warcraft 3 player who fought for his esports career as well as for his life. Park Sun-yan was an ordinary kid as it seemed from the first glance. He lived in Daegu, a small town in South Korea, and a shabby apartment of 33 square meters was his dwelling, but his childhood was good, at least until the age of 7. Pain entered his body at that time, and he was able to walk as other children, but he started to lose the sense of his legs. It was strange, but he still seemed healthy and fine, so his parents didn't worry too much. However, at the age of 11, he suddenly found out that he couldn't move his feet. He couldn't move his knees either. He found standing on his foot impossible, not to mention walking. After close examination, his family got a shocking diagnosis: muscular dystrophy. He could not use only his legs for now, but he will end up losing sense of his arms and all of his body in the worst case. He lost the tremendous joy of walking on his own, and it was a totally unexpected catastrophe. Severe insomnia became a regularity in his life. Another issue was that his family couldn't afford his treatment. They were a poor family relying on government subsidies, and this particular illness wasn't covered by medical insurance. It seemed like there was no hope for them. Even a ride to the hospital was a tough challenge. Taxi drivers often refused to help the child in a wheelchair. His mother said that it was a horrifying pain to watch her child suffer so much. And soon it was obvious that normal life came to an end. He could only stay at home and watch TV, and this lockdown would be only good thing he could have in his life, until the illness progressed further and further. It couldn't be stopped, and he had very little time left. Somehow, Park Sun-yan discovered Warcraft 3, a game that surprisingly made him feel alive. It was really fun, and Space, that would be his nickname, soon fell in love with this game. Despite the limitations imposed by his illness, Space was able to improve in Warcraft 3. His natural desire to win made him furious after a loss, but this was not really important. What was important is that he felt alive, and his paralyzed body seemed to move just a little bit. He joined Clan Go in 2005, so his username became Go Space, and his desire to be free was just in this username. He even managed to rank first in Warcraft 3 season ladder on Korean server. These were 2 years full of joy and passion. However, there were grim moments that kept reminding him about his limitations. Prejudice against physically challenged people was obvious in the game industry as well, and he wanted to join other clans before he ended up joining Clan Go, but those clans, however, refused to accept him after they found out he cannot attend offline meetings. He was disappointed, but joining Clan Go totally changed his life. Professional esports team Fnatic was checking him up. Fnatic, based in the UK, was known as one of the best teams in the world, and they soon contacted Space and, of course, asked him to join the team. And this was the first big offer that he got in his life. How did he play? Oh, it was another tremendous challenge. His mother had to adjust his chair, placing him in the right position and checking every detail before playing a single game. Normally, in any competitive RTS, you need to use hotkeys from number 9 to number 1 on your keyboard, and also several others for spells or camera. However, Space could only use half of the keyboard, only the left side of it. With the progress of the disease, even this Space was shrinking, but he didn't care. He was adapting and praying that he can at least move his fingers. In 2008, Space joined English team Fnatic and took part in the biggest South Korean event, Africa TV Warcraft 3 League Season 3. His chances were quite limited. It was also an offline event featuring many best Warcraft 3 players from South Korea. Even worse, Space was playing possibly the weakest race in the game at that time, Undead, and some people even argued that power balance between races was poorly designed because orcs and night elves were simply too powerful, while only a few undead players were having favorable results. But despite aforementioned obstacles, Space advanced from his group with little resistance. It was already a great result, but it continued in the playoffs. And here we are. Space, despite being severely handicapped, made it to the finals. How did he find the motivation, the courage, the strength to do so? Once his mother told about his greatest fear. It wasn't the fear of death, it was cockroaches. One day he was leaning his back on a chair, and then a cockroach was crawling in front of his feet. He ended up crying because that goddamn bug decided to crawl on his disabled legs. His paralyzed arms and legs were unable to push it away, and he had no choice but to stare at the upcoming fear, totally disarmed. It was a cruel and severe tragedy. In real life, he was severely limited, helpless, and almost hopeless. But in WarCraft 3, he was making history, he was bringing fun and entertainment for many people. He brought hope and inspiration for thousands of viewers. The finals were very tough for our hero. He faced Lin, arguably one of the best WarCraft 3 players in the history of this game, and Space had a hard time, but he showed great plays throughout the series. It was not enough and he lost 0-3 in the finals, but it was already a tremendous achievement. He became a living legend.
리치면마저 프로스톰이 거의 노바가 계속 들어가는 듯한 느낌이에요. 자, 골드 살리고요. 그러나 드레드로 레벨업. 자, 포탈을 탑니다. 그러나 상점이 없기 때문에
이제는 옵시디언 스태츄를 찍지도 못할 뿐더러 자, 옵시디언 스태츄가 올라오죠. 그렇죠. 찌르기를 들어가면서 옵시디언 스태츄 뽑는 거거든요.
He wore a tiny red bracelet on his left wrist. It was a gift from a young Chinese lady when they met during a tournament in China. It was a small symbol of hope, and when asked what his dream was, Space replied, "Well, I just want to win every single game, including this disease." But this was an unfair match. As the illness progressed, his results would become worse and worse. At that point, his only desire was to live until his age 30 and win as many games as he could. And he did win a lot. But as for his final battle, the result was destined long ago. In one of his last interviews, Space said, "I don't want to become a pro gamer or become healthy. I know it's impossible. The only thing I want is to become the best WarCraft 3 player, to make my mother proud of me. I know there is no cure for my illness, no miracles I believe in. I only want to play this game for fun and joy, and I'll do my best to become the unstoppable player and a strong human being for my mother." His last documented results happened in 2011. On May 6, 2013, at the age of 23, Park San-yeon passed away, but the memory of him will live on for many more years.